This is our ICM statistics video project by Alex, Alexis, and Max. We asked 100 PCHS seniors how many hours of free time do you have per day. This does not include the hours spent sleeping after you go to bed.
The types of sampling methods that we used are convenience by surveying students in our class and voluntary response through a Twitter poll.
The median, or also the Q2, is a data value that is in the middle of your data set. The median of our data is 3. The first and third quartiles, or Q1 and Q3, are the median of the lower half of the data, which is Q1, or the median of the upper half of the data, which is Q3. The Q1 of our data was 2, while the Q3 was 4.
The IQR, or interquartile range, is a measure of variability based on dividing a set into quartiles. You can find this by subtracting Q1 from Q3.
The variance is how far a set of numbers are from their average value. To find the variance, we would subtract the number from the mean, square it, and then divide it by the number of data points. The variance for our data set was 2.72.
The mode of a set of numbers is the one that occurs the most often. The mode of our data was 2.
Mean is found out by the numbers in the data added together over how many numbers, and that's usually used to calculate the average. Mid-range divides the range by 2 to find a type of average. It is also considered a measure of central tendency, and the only downside is it is an unweighted average. Standard deviation is if you take the variance and square it, or if you take the square root of variance, you get standard deviation. It is usually shown with the sign sigma, as shown right here. And a standard deviation of 0.1 is closer to the mean and more accurate, while a standard deviation of 1 is further away from the mean and usually less accurate. Quantitative data is data that can be represented by numerical values, such as how many scoops of ice cream did someone have, rather than the flavor of ice cream, which is described in words.
This is a standard normal distribution chart. Our data is not normally distributed because our data does not have negative values. Our mean was 3.34 and our standard deviation was 1.64. So one standard deviation to the left is 1.7 and one standard deviation to the right is 4.98. And then two standard deviations to the left is 0.06. Two standard deviations to the right is 6.62. Three standard deviations to the left is negative 1.58. And three standard deviations to the right is 8.26.
So this is the graphical representation of our data. Our question was, how many hours of free time do you have after school? Here you can see the frequency goes from 0 all the way to 35, and then the number of hours one has free goes from 0 to 8 or more. There's the data used to create it. As you can tell, this is a bar graph, and looking at this you can tell that 2 is the mode of the graph.
In conclusion, we found that the average PCHS senior has about 3.34 hours of free time after school.